The following program on KNSJ is coming to you live from the City Heights Broadcast Center.
And, oh man, 3, 2, 1. City lights, city sights, city ways, city days. Hey there, San Diego, that's what we do. Lego my radio ego. Hey, San Diego. Feeling it? Getting close? 3, 2, 1. I'm your host, DJ Super Rob. This is Welcome to Thrill Street, San Diego's finest and weirdest show on a Friday night or anywhere else. So, folks, we are here in the studio with a very special guest, the first member of the Three Timers Club, the Welcome to Thrill Street Three Timers Club. This is his third appearance as a guest here. If I had a clapping sound effect, I would play it right now. Clap, 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 clap. Oh, there we go. Feel that, guys? Feel that? For our next guest, is Doug's mic on? Try it out. Yep. Oh, yeah, I think we got Mike. Try it out.
Hi there. This is Doug. That was me. I'm being my own clapping machine here.
Oh, there we go. It's Doug with the sweet, sweet guitar. How's it going?
I'm doing really well.
So, how long has it been since we talked to you last? Like a month and a half, maybe?
Yeah, I'd say.
About that?
Yeah, 6, 7 weeks.
Yeah, about that. Okay. Good, yeah. Good. So, what's happened since we last talked?
Well, I've started, we were working on the movie and started talking to actors about auditioning, starting to get that going. Still looking for funding for it. I'm discovering it's a lot of work to try funders for a movie, but, I suppose that's true for all businesses. As always, I keep becoming more calm and more happy, so, that's always good. I wasn't always that way as a kid. So that's been pretty good.
Yeah, so for those folks who didn't maybe catch some of the last episodes that Doug was on, he is a musician, very talented musician, been playing for a number of years, who is also putting a movie together. Now, you are the producer of the movie, right?
Yeah, producer, writer.
You're the writer.
Yeah.
You are the director.
Yep.
Now, are you in the movie at all? Do you have a role? Are you like the hard-nosed detective? Are you the guy at the hot dog stand saying, "Hey, tow dogs"?
There's one point where the female lead is stalking me with a knife. So I'm the big overweight old guy in the movie.
Okay, so that's a departure then from your normal role. You have to really get a lot of prosthetics. You have to really kind of bulk up, put on some muscle, take some off, put some on again.
No, I'm just overweight.
Okay, well there you go too.
It's real simple makeup. I put it on over 40 years. I've lost like 13 pounds though since August 2nd, so I'm happy with that.
Hopefully that won't hurt the film at all.
Nah.
You're like, sorry, I'm getting healthy, guys. It's gonna hurt the film.
That's right.
So, that's awesome. So you wrote, direct, producing, and have a part in the movie.
Yes, I'm also editing it.
A lot of directors like to do that too. I think it's a fun little nod, I mean, Woody Allen, he put himself as a love interest in every movie, which kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Alfred Hitchcock always had a little cameo in his.
Hitchcock, Stan Lee in the Marvel films is somewhere everywhere.
Yeah.
So every film you direct, are you going to be somewhere in the film,
Possibly. I really stick out though. I'm like a really large guy, so it's kind of hard to like sneak myself in.
Well, there's counters, costumes. You could be,
sitting at a table in the background. Yeah.
Like, I think Stan Lee once was a janitor in the background. He's like, "Hey, watch out here. I'm mopping. Oh, you superpower guys. Come on with the superpowers.
Yeah.
I'm mopping the floor over here, you superpowered jerks."
Yeah.
I don't think that was a quote for quote, but something like that.
Something along that. I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, You could be a superhero. You could be the guy who gives everybody their missions. "Hey, listen, the chief just coming down from the main office,
I
All right,
got
you
offered
super
that
guys."
one time. I do have a role coming. It's a friend of mine's making a movie called Dollhead.
Ooh, dish.
And apparently I'm going to be the drag queen.
Okay.
The head drag queen. So I'm going to be in like high heels and lipstick, which will be... I'm kind of a manly man, so it's going to be kind of a stretch.
Do you feel like you're going to be typecast after this?
Oh, I hope not.
Hey, listen, we want you. We're doing a remake of Tu Wong Fu. We need you.
Was it Curry from Rocky Horror? It was like made him famous, and it made it hard for him to get a gig too.
Oh, but Tim Curry is like everything he's in. He's there.
Yeah. Oh, he's very dramatic.
Legend. And like obviously that one, and The Worst Witch, great Halloween treat.
Yeah, there was a TV. I can't remember which.
It was a TV movie. There was like, I think he was like the headmaster of a witch school.
No, he was actually on a TV show for a little while. I think it was Roseanne, maybe. I can't remember.
That would be crazy, Tim Curry and Roseanne. Hey, Roseanne, you're looking wonderful.
Yeah, well, he didn't
Stop
sound. He didn't
poor.
sound. He didn't sound at all like Tim Curry.
That would be great.
You know, that was so confusing to me.
Oh, you're so poor, you poor thing. That'd be great.
Yeah, it's so long I can't remember exactly the show, but I think that's what it was.
Yeah, he was also in this movie called The Worst Witch, and it's one of the worst songs. It's like the green screen work is so like 80s, just hilarious. There's bats flying and skulls like, anything can happen on Halloween. I should have played it last week because it's a really great bad song. It's like painfully bad and good, and it's Tim Curry, and you're like, but I love Tim Curry, but this is awful, you know? Puts you in that fun state of like, I don't know how to feel about this.
Yes, some movies it's like you aren't sure if they're doing it on purpose or not. You know, they're like really funny just because they're so bad.
Well, I think Tim Curry probably liked to camp it up too. You know, he seemed like a guy who was pretty comfortable being silly. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, he did wear some nylons that were pretty tight.
Yeah.
So now you, so this film project of yours, you wrote it, you're directing it, you're producing it.
No.
Is this your first project, or is this like, have you done a few before?
I've done like several shorts, and then I did a version of the movie about 3 years ago, the same project, but it was just me learning a bunch of stuff, and now I want to get serious about it.
Well, that's how you start, you know, you kind of have to start making it before you really know what you're doing.
Yeah, I can't remember the director's name, but he said if you want to shoot movies, get a camera and go outside and shoot a movie. So I took that on. You know, it's technically not very good, but, you know, I got through it and I learned a lot, and now I've added a couple of scripts, so it could turn into a series, it could turn into a web series, it could turn into a long movie, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm much more ready for it now. That's why I'm actually looking for funding, because I think I could actually make a good movie out of it.
Well, with a lot of things, you know, you start out being really, really bad at them, and then gradually you get better and better.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Trump. Look how bad he was when he started out, and look at him now. Well, anyway, you know, some things get better as they get later in experience. So
seems like everybody loves him. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he's astoundingly popular. I don't know, astoundingly popular.
People talk about him all the time.
I know, bigly. They're really big. I don't know what it is. Man, I think it's the media. It's media's fault.
Yes.
Now, you've been a musician for a number of years. What do you say, 20, 30, 15, 40, 12?
I am 63, and I started when I was 14.
Okay, so about 20 years.
About 50.
Oh, yeah, that math. Okay, your math's a little better.
Yes.
So, quite a long time playing music.
Yeah.
And do you feel like where do you feel like you are at now musically? You know, do you feel like you've like reached a certain plateau? Or are you always getting a little better? Are you like not as good as you were, let's say, like 10 years ago? Are you better? Are you like still ascending?
I don't get to practice as much as I used to because of work. But I understand a lot more about the background of music, the theory. It only takes about 2 days of really practicing to really get back up to where I was at my best. And, you know, and I recorded 6 music CDs, so it's a lot of that, you know, I'm going to use a lot of that music in my movie simply to, you know, another way to save costs.
Yeah.
But it's
Oh yeah, so that's something interesting to talk about. You are in the process of converting some of your music to film, to essentially being soundtracks for films, right?
Yeah, it's you play it and you pick up. It's just called a wave file.
Okay. And does that include you waving then, like the file was waving at someone?
Yeah.
I'm not very technically savvy.
It's a name of an audio format that's it's uncompressed.
Okay. Ah, it's uncut. I do know what that's all about.
Yeah, and so it comes in very loud and clean. And then I have another piece of software that can read the wave file and turn it into a MIDI file, which makes it digital.
Or surf the wave, if you will.
Yeah.
And turns it into MIDIs.
Yeah, it makes
which in California usually is not a good thing, but in this case is actually good, the MIDI file.
Well, what's nice about it is it's a digital file, which then I can put into a program I have that can convert its guitar music. I can actually turn it into like harps, flutes, drums, things like that.
That's kind of wild. Just like the same notes, but just in different instrument.
Yeah, it just retunes the whole thing, and then you can stretch it and make it different types of octaves.
So will you play like then, like let's say a drum solo on your guitar and then convert it into drums, like with mindful of like this is what it's going to be, or you just hear a good track and you're like, I wonder what this would sound like with a flute? or with a drum, or?
Usually I know where I want it to go. This right. What we're talking about here is I'm just going back to those past 6 CDs. It's kind of funny because people ask me what drum a lot of it was, and a lot of it's you know, I have like a 3-ring notebook, and I have 2 pencils and kind of just drum on them. The notebook, so it has this kind of dead thump sound. Other times I'm drumming on the guitar. I don't know how to play drums, so I do what I can.
So it would literally be in the notes like, you know, drum kit is notebook, pen, notebook, comma, pens.
Yeah, or I'll just bang my, you know, kind of do my fingers on the table.
Actually, I think we call that assorted percussion.
Sort of percussion.
Sort of percussion, various percussion.
Not real percussion, sort of percussion. Yes.
Assorted percussion. I've gotten assorted percussion credits on an album or two before.
Yeah.
For, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about going to MIDI is, you know, you take the guitar and you can actually make it like sound like Celtic harps or, you know, pan flutes. You just change the way it's played, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
And then you can like stretch them or short, you know, make them sound longer. It totally changes the quality.
And so what's the process like then putting those songs into a film? Like, what's the difference between having a song then that's going to be in a soundtrack rather than on an album?
So the editing software, you put in, there's like a bunch of tracks that go linearly left to right. And you put the video in that you're going to be using. And then below that, you put all the various audio tracks, which has got people talking.
Okay.
And then you can start adding audio tracks of like people walking around in traffic, and you can also just put the music in there.
So like the Foley stuff you're layering in too, you know,
yeah.
all the little... And are you doing Foley on this yourself too, or just like going and finding like sound bite of people walking, sound bite of like...
It depends on, you know, if I need it real quick, I'll go online.
Yeah.
There's a place that you can go called, what was it, freesound.org, but a lot of times I'll just go out and walk around like on a gravel road with the mic, and it's the thing that's amazing to me is like the movie, you'll have like maybe 2 tracks of video and like maybe 40 tracks of audio, just to get all the sound the way you want it.
Oh yeah, to make it all sound natural, you know, because things are on top of each. In the real world, it's not just one clean track playing. There's always other things going on.
Right.
Like frogs and, you know, and animals and lights and cars and everything, you know.
Well, there's one, I've always am amused by it, where this woman I work with named Holly Davis, she's walking down a dirt path. And in the original track, I'm yelling at her, turn right, come on, Holly, turn right. You take all that out, and all you hear is like footfalls and winds and bees buzzing, and all that got put in afterwards. So you just completely alter the whole feeling of the thing.
Well, that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
And like you were saying before, so your philosophy with music is you don't want to overpower the scene.
Yeah. The only reason it should really get loud is if there's like, you know, like this story in particular, she kills a few people. So like maybe when she's doing
that's
the knife,
That's gonna happen.
Yeah. It's like knife thrust that it's really like. Kind of like that shower scene with...
How do you capture the sound of a knife thrust?
I get a big piece of meat and just stab it with a knife. And you hear... It just sounds like meat being stabbed.
Honey, are you out stabbing the meat again? Yes, dear, I'm out stabbing my meat.
Yes.
Could you be quieter when you stab your meat, dear? It's for a movie.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting because you got to make different levels of volumes. You can bring things up and down and like have traffic going from left to right.
But that's the kind of thing you'd have to think about. That's kind of fascinating. You know, you're like, okay, I need these sounds for my film. Where am I going to get these from?
Yeah. I live along El Cajon Boulevard, so sometimes I'll just walk out with my recorder and stick the mic up, and all the traffic and planes going by and the birds.
See somebody getting stabbed. Hey, excuse me. Hold on a minute. Wait, can I get this mic closer?
Yeah.
Oh, God, help me. Oh, I love that. Keep going. Oh, just please, why are you? Just call the cops. Oh, I love it. This is going to be great for my film. Thank you, sir.
When you're done, yes.
Thank you. Could you sign a release? Not you. You're going to be dead. But you. Could you sign a release?
So I'd like to point out this is all fantasy. I haven't done this.
The gritty realism of this film.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Hey, I'm just capturing what's out there. It's not, you know.
Here's $20. You let this guy stab you.
Hey, I didn't make him stab him, but he was out there. I say, hey, free work. This nice Foley work right here. Look at these great sounds.
Yeah.
Look, you can hear really the splish flash.
But a lot of times it's like the footsteps are kind of muffled, and so you get real clean sounds of feet walking on wood, and then you got to sit there. Then you got to sit there and make sure it's not the same sound all the time, because that sounds really phony. And then you got to make sure it goes off when the foot actually hits something. The Foley actually takes. That's called Foley, the background sound. That takes more work than the dialogue or the music.
Well, it's crazy to me that you're doing all of this. That you're doing the soundtrack, the editing, the sound effects, like pretty much everything, you know?
Thus why I'm looking for funds.
Yeah. You know, you're like getting to the point where you're like putting on a few different wigs. You're like, okay, now I'm Janet, now I'm Tony, you know, now I'm Bill.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, you know, I'm out looking for, you know, I'm not trying to get funds so I can get an editor and a sound person to work on it and all. It's doable. It just takes a lot of work.
Well, yeah, because people, you know, it's like it's hard to get people to throw their money at something if they don't think they're going to get anything back.
Right.
And it's hard to prove you're going to get money back on something as kind of esoteric as a film, you know? It's like so random almost, a success or failure, you know?
Well, in a lot of movies, you know, they spend a lot of money to make it and hope that it gets picked up at a festival. You know, I know one guy spent $150,000 on a movie and he's basically got a home movie because it never got picked up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of thinking
hey, maybe it's a great home movie.
Yeah. I'm actually thinking more of doing it as a web series and like having ad support and Patreon and stuff. Just, it's a, you know, the distribution systems there, it's a lot easier.
Well, it's not a bad idea if you can find a decent platform to host it on, you know, or like find a kind of a deal that works for you. I mean, even stuff like YouTube, depending on, you know, depending on the platform. Just episode 1 here, it's on YouTube. If you want to see more, check this out. You know, click like and subscribe. It's your boy. You know?
Yeah. That's the plan.
Well, I mean, it's in this age though, you can do that.
Yeah,
you know, we're living in a time where like you can put your media up there and have people check it out. So, so what's your pitch though to people? So, okay, it's a really crowded media market.
Right.
You have an idea that you like. You like it enough that you wrote it. You like it enough that you, after writing it, you decide you want to make it a film, and you liked it enough that you decide to put your money and time and all these things behind it to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, why should other people see it? Like, what's your pitch to why this is something that like people, when it comes out, should really check it out and like give it time to, whether it's a series or a film?
Well, the way I pitch it right off is that it's a dark romantic comedy about a female serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not really about her killing. It's about feeling darker, being discounted, disliked, which, you know, tens of millions of people go through.
Yeah, that seems like a compelling theme these days.
Yeah, and she's just finally gets mad enough one day that she kills somebody. But through the course of the whole story, she actually ends up finally being peaceful and calm. And the main reason behind that is I used to be a very dark, angry person. I never got to killing someone, but I've actually become very happy and calm, and I have this whole, well, you know, if it happened to me, I want to share the possibility with other people.
Yeah.
Plus, it's also pretty funny.
And then, so essentially, it's kind of like a gender switch in that way. It's like it's some of your life experience, but like, you know, do the little gender switch to add some different issues and things like that, and then you got yourself a movie.
Yeah, and I've also talked with a lot of women about, you know, like guys, you know, they'll be talking to some guy about science, and the guy compliments her on her looks, and, you know, to the guy it's a compliment, but to the woman it's like he's just kind of dismissed her intelligence. And that's a lot of what drives this woman getting angry through the course of the movie. So it's kind of an examination of that. But it's not like a lecturing sort of thing. It's just more like you're kind of watching this woman's story.
Do you feel like your film's kind of becoming more pertinent as the days go by? You know, like, are you watching kind of world events and thinking, man, you know, this is a pretty good environment to be working on a movie like this because, you know, it's really speaking to something that's going on right now.
Well, especially since I've become calmer and happier. I sit here and I look around at all the basic anger and violence, even if it doesn't express itself.
Everybody seems calm and happy these days. That seems like the name of the game. Calm and happy is like,
yeah.
You know, that's pretty much what's going on these days.
Yeah.
It's like a bunch of Zen monks out there.
All the TV shows are full of nothing but calm and happy.
Mm-hmm. From our president on down to our everyday people.
Yeah. And, you know, I guess when I was darker inside, you know, when someone told me I could be happy and calm, I just kind of thought they were being stupid. But
like
now
it was fake news or some sort.
But now that it's actually happened to me, I'm like, oh. And I did have an event near my apartment complex where I walked out the house and this guy was trying to beat up his girlfriend, and I interceded, and it kind of moved it from a really groovy thought to, oh wow, this is like right outside my door.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just
literally
getting that there's just a lot of needless anger out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I can see how, you know, you get abused as a kid. And
how many times does this woman have to deal with this? How many times she got to deal with it again?
Right.
You know?
Mean, she left and moved out. But, you know, who knows if she'd done it before or whatever. And there does seem to be a lot of, people get angry at the other gender and stuff for.
Mm-hmm.
It's like stuff comes from when you're a kid. You almost forget why it is you think this way.
Yeah.
And it kind of percolates up. But, you can also see like that anger from as a kid turns into you want to get in the army and shoot at people.
Well, it's biases, too. If your parents are racist, you might turn out racist,
That's
because
true.
that's what's been given to you.
Yeah.
If your parents are homophobic, chances are you're going to turn, it's like you pass down that prejudice to your children.
Or you get rabidly the other way.
Yeah, That's the story, though, usually when you bring your kids to, like, Catholic school and they become punk rockers, It's like,
right.
It's like, that's gross. I want to put my kids into a private school so they rebel completely, Like,
Right.
all according to plan, yes.
Yes.
Yes, rebel, beautiful. Give me your angst.
But anyway, I just think that it's a fun story. I want to do it, but I actually think it'll have a really positive impact for like individuals, and I figure if there's like 20 people decide not to shoot themselves or somebody else, that'd be a good social thing.
Mm-hmm.
And just the realization you actually can be happy and calm in this life was something I thought was good to share.
Yeah. And by adding a little bit of murder and things like that into, you make it more of an exciting story, but you're still keeping the grain of like that story.
Yeah, because it follows her going that way because she's getting darker, but eventually by the end of the story, she starts becoming peaceful and calm. She's in prison because she killed some people.
Yeah.
But she is peaceful and calm.
Now you talk about funding, right?
Yeah.
Have you thought about maybe getting some funding with some sort of like tie-in, maybe some product placement, like maybe she finds a bigger state of peace by having a new smartphone, by iPhone, a new iPhone X, or perhaps, perhaps
I thought of
the
it.
yogurt company, or
I thought of it, but even more so. They're like, unless you can guarantee them some kind of return, like small movies don't get Coca-Cola placements. They might give you a case of Coke, but they don't let you get the placement thing.
Hey guys, we got the case of Coke. We did it. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you have like a multi-million-dollar thing, they'll do it because they know they're going to get a lot of advertising worth out of it. So it's, I'm still checking around, but I'm also proceeding. Like if I have to do on a shoestring, I will.
Well, hey, we're out here, folks. You guys at Nokia, listen up. You can get on board with this. It was a Nokia that made her happy all along.
Yeah,
Inner knowledge of self and the new Nokia X5.
Well, not to plug myself too hard, but I'm Douglas Scott McCarron on the internet if you want to go looking for me.
DSM right there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we'll plug we'll plug that. Wait, one more time for him. Wherever that go.
Douglas Scott McCarron. I'm on Facebook.
Hit him up on that www, the World Wide Web.
Yes. Not that we're advertising.
Be a spider on the World Wide Web.
Yes.
Well, it's a cool place to go to like check out your stuff though too, because you've got obviously the movie you're working on. You've got music available. People like that sort of thing.
Well, the website is www.abittwisted.net. Just one long word. And then a lot of my music's on Google Play.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's definitely accessible. A lot of people can get to Google Play.
Yeah. I also have a music theory book that I have on there called 50 Steps to Guitar Greatness.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like, 50 Shades of A chord or something like that.
No.
It's so what's the title again?
50 Steps to Guitar Greatness.
Jay Blaze back there losing it. I'm watching him shake his head. No. I don't believe he said that. No. But he did. He did say that.
Yeah, well,
so
it's actually, it starts from the very beginning and gets all the way up into like music theory and how to read music, and it's just like.
And so when did you write this?
About 5 years ago.
And what was the inspiration for that? Were people like asking you about music advice? You're like, I should write this down.
It was more just I had learned a lot of it. And a lot of my friends didn't know it, so I just wrote it down. And it's a PDF thing, book, not a printed book.
And that's pronounced pdf.
No, it's it's Adobe pdf.
Pdf.
Yeah.
Okay, it's PDF. So you have to hold it. It's like literally just digital. It's a magical digital image.
It's on the computer.
And you can put it on your Kindle and stuff like that.
I wrote a Kindle version too. Yeah.
Okay. Well, see, like a lot of people like the Kindles. I don't know about them yet. But.
It's you can Adobe Reader, which is pretty standard on Windows machine. There's also a Kindle.
And you've sold a few of these, then you've seen a little bit.
A few.
People picking them out.
Yeah, I sell like 5 or 6 a year.
Well, it's steady. It's steady.
Yeah. I'm not retiring, but it's good to know they're getting them. But it's there's a friend of mine I was just describing to him. He's a guitar player, and I was explaining to him how chords are built. like D and G, and see why they have those notes, and you could just sort of see this light bulb going off in his head. Because especially with the guitar, you don't get the training. You can just pick a guitar up, start messing with it, and learn to play it.
You see, that sounds interesting now. How a note is built.
Yeah.
Like maybe in the next break you could show us how a note is built on your guitar and bring out
chord.
a chord. That's the one. Yeah. See, I'm not up on this mumbo jumbo with the music. You know, I was never much of a talented musician. That's why I'm a DJ.
Yeah, and
pretty much. It's
well, especially because a lot of instruments you get classical or jazz training. You learn all the theory. The guitar, it's not necessarily so. A lot of people can just pick it up and just start playing it. And
you get a punk training, which just hit this chord a few times, drink some beers, impress that girl.
Yeah.
Yeah,
bounce your head up and down.
Yeah, was my guitar training. Bounce your head up and down.
Fling your hair around.
This is how you hold the pick. Look pretty cool. This is a chord, maybe. Try it out. Hit it. Take your finger off. Put it back on. There you go. You're Green Day.
Yeah.
You sold 1 million albums.
Yeah. That's why when, when Metallica does songs like Nothing Else Matters, and you sit there and you listen to it, it's like...
And you're like, guys, come on. Plenty other things matter, guys. Come on. Really?
No, it's just the I don't know how much music theory they know. It's actually a pretty complicated tune.
Well, yeah, they're talented musicians.
Yeah.
I mean, they definitely have their chops, you know.
What's funny is to watch their bass player play guitar, because he plays flamenco guitar. He's actually, in my opinion, better than the other two.
That's funny. Yet he's playing the bass.
But it doesn't match, the style.
Yeah, because you bring people in, you're like, okay, what do you want me to do? You want to play this? Great,
Yeah. Well, there's a funny YouTube thing where Hetfield walks in and Hammett walk in and like, oh, I guess we're out of the band.
Yeah.
He's over there flailing away, playing flamenco.
Well, because they went through a few bassists. Like Cliff Burton was their original bassist. Then they picked up Jason Newsted after that for a very long time. And then I forget who's their bassist now.
Oh, I can't
remember
think of
the guy's
name.
name. Like Swiss. I think isn't it Swiss Guard or is it Murderface? I think.
I thought it was an Alice. I thought it was an Alice Chains.
Maybe.
I can't remember. Trujillo, is that his last name?
We'll just say Allison Q Chains. That's him, yes. Allison Q
I'm
Chains.
sure all the Metallica fans out there are screaming at us, which you can call us and scream us if you want to.
Well, I mean, I stopped at the Black Album pretty much. Like, their early stuff, so I really loved. And then lately, though, I've heard stuff from them recently that I kind of liked and was, like, surprised, because they went through this very ballady stage. And I was like, oh, come on, Metallica. Because I'm into, like, the Ride the Lightning, Kill 'Em All, Master of Puppets stage where it was just some hard, intense music. And then it got very ballady, and now they got a little bit of that old feel back to them, it feels like. I've heard some stuff from them lately that is kind of kicking,
Well, the thing that's amazing to me about them is when they did the movie Some Kind of Monster.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, basically, they were sitting there showing, like, kind of the process I went through where they were waking up their demons and healing themselves. And I actually find it a very moving movie. I know a lot of people are like, I don't want to hear this. But
well, they're a wild band. I mean, like, they were hitting really big success, had a horrible accident, lost their bass player who was, like, one of the founding members of the band and somebody who was, like, very influential on what their sound was going through at that point.
Yeah.
Because, you'll hear that on One and, like, Master of Puppets. There's so many great, like, jams, that he was a part of. And then after, like, he's gone, they get the new guy in, their music takes a different turn,
Right.
And then you get to the Black Album, and you're like, okay, something's a little different here. And then it's more kind of ballady, the softer stuff. And then they all cut their hair. That was the big hair cutting era when it's like, oh, hey, check it out, guys. Now we got some rings.
Right.
But they were still, and they didn't stop being good. They didn't stop being talented. It was just like, wasn't my bag, Well,
the thing that's, I'm going to sound really snotty here as a classical guitar player, but listening to each one of them individually, they aren't really that good. They're kind of fast, but they're not that good. But you put them together, and it's just like, wow. It's just playing together. They're astonishing to me. But it's like, I'll listen to the two guitar players play leads, and I'm like, yeah, I can do that. So
well, that's part of the alchemy of a band. The sum of its parts are bigger than and that's what it is. Sometimes people can come together, and they're amazing together because they have that energy, and they do something together that no one else could do separately. I feel like the Beatles had some of that energy, too,
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like Ringo was the most amazing musician, but in that batch of people, they elevated him to, be Ringo.
Well,
they even let him write 2 songs.
It's even, to me, it's kind of ironic because McCartney said that Ringo wasn't the best drummer in the group.
No. But
all the drummers I know are just fascinated by Ringo because he's actually, For what a drummer is supposed to do, he does it extremely well.
You know, saying he wasn't the best drummer in the Beatles doesn't mean he wasn't a great drummer. You know what I mean? Like, it's still saying, like, all the guys in there are fantastic musicians. Like, you know, you look at the Beatles, each of them held their own, like, on a solo career. Even George Harrison's solo stuff had merit, you know? Like, each of them, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, John Lennon, each of them was able to have a solo career with quality work.
Well, you know, and the most important Beatle was George Martin.
The fifth Beatle. They stole my ideas.
Yeah, he was the one who assembled all that. He used to record classical orchestras, and he knew how to like layer all that stuff.
The classic story of the fifth Beatle.
Yeah.
But I had the ideas. They recorded in my house. My mom drove us to practice. Come on, guys, give me some credit. And now I'm Ringo.
Another band, like U2. It's like
U2.
They're not.
U2, you say?
Yeah.
U2.
Yeah, me three.
Yeah.
But none of them are astonishing, and yet I've loved every one of their albums.
Well, some great production. I mean, you look at the Joshua Tree. Brian Eno produced it. Yeah, that's a great album. And when you got Eno in there, he's going to bring out the best in what you have. So, I mean, it's crazy. Whew, that's a solid album. Yeah, I'm not the hugest U2 fan, but Joshua Tree is very listenable. You know, that's the thing. I respect, even if I don't like really mess with the band much, I respect them if they're quality. You know, there's good musicians that I don't necessarily like their music, but I appreciate that they're a really good musician, you know?
Well, the thing that's always funny to me is I hate the sort of music that Barry Manilow sings, except I really love Barry Manilow. He does it really well. Everybody else sings it, I'm like, ugh, I can't stand it.
He was Michael Bublé before Michael Bublé was a thing.
He there's just... Like, I don't like country music, but there's a couple of country musicians I really like, you know?
Well, Barry Manilow, he was from that era of, like, Tom Jones, Barry Manilow, like, all the guys who get, like, underwear thrown on stage of them, and they just be, like, going around, do, hey, ladies. You know, it's just a bunch of, like, excited wives.
Well, one of the things, you know, back then the singers could really sing. They didn't use auto-tune.
They could croon.
Yeah. Like
yeah, Daddy-O, they were crooners.
Unchained Melody, that really romantic song at the end of Ghost.
Yeah.
They had a 2-track to record that on.
And now that used to be Chained Melody, right? And then they said, no, let's unchain it. No. Let's take the chains off this melody.
What a bad joke.
Anyway. Let's take the chains right off it.
But the thing is, the orchestra recorded on 1 track.
Yeah.
And he sang on the other. And that was the first take. He only did 2 takes. And you sit there and you listen to that song, just how amazing the singing is.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and there was no auto-tune or anything. He just did it. So it's like back then people... Yeah, I'm not saying people can't sing now, but a lot of people kind of cover things.
Well, these days you put a little auto-tune on, it covers up everything, you know?
Yeah, there's... Usually they're lip-syncing and dancing to a lot of them. Mm-hmm. It's another reason I like U2. They're actually playing their instruments.
Well, I remember when lip-syncing was, like, frowned upon.
Oh,
but now it's, like, nearly... I mean, probably half the hip-hop acts you'll see when you go see them are going to be lip-syncing to something. Yeah. Like when recently, what was it, at the observatory, when the guy got attacked, X Station, I think that was his full name. Okay. When he got attacked, he somebody just jumped on stage and punched the guy in the middle of a song, and the song kept going on.
And he kept singing, yes.
Yeah, it's amazing, which is a real professionalism. Like, he gets knocked out, and yet he's still rapping. It was amazing.
Yeah, how do you
it's
do
like
that?
He didn't miss a beat.
That's right.
And you're like, man, how common is this? It's like, we're not even giving people a live show. We're just playing press play.
Yeah.
And then we're out here. We're going to move around a little bit, you know.
Well, you know, because I play my guitar, it's always... I've been to dances where there's a guy standing there with a laptop pressing buttons and listening. I'm like,
now, have you thought about recording the guitar track and then coming in and then just letting that play, and while you eat like a burrito or something? You know, like, because I mean, why even play? You don't need to anymore. Just play the track, be out there, you know, kind of mime it a little bit, and then go off to the side, eat a sandwich, come back. That's modern music, right?
There's the spiritual connection between... You know, when you get trained well enough, you stop playing the guitar and the guitar starts playing you. Mm. And there's just that whole connection between the guitar and you and the music that's coming. It's like a lot of stuff I play, it's improvised. And that's what's missing, is that's the actual connection.
I mean, when I DJ, I improvise sometimes. Sometimes I play a track twice, or sometimes I'll... you know, move the knob a little higher or a little lower.
Oh, DJs, they think they play music.
Well,
little cut there. Anyway.
Well, It was a funny story. Recently, Jay Blaze was telling me he went to the observatory to see a fine show, Flying Lotus in 3D, who Flying Lotus, amazing DJ, amazing music. I'm really sad I missed it, but I was here doing this show, #1 show in San Diego.
Absolutely.
On a Friday night on Knsj, #1 show. Gig gang!
Thank you.
Come at us!
Yes.
#1 show. But he was saying that the act beforehand was a DJ and was playing a song and was playing the same song for 10 minutes because apparently the guy had a seizure in the middle of the song and no one knew.
The DJ?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And no one knew because, it's DJ. Oh, he's just going really long on this track.
Wow.
And he was shaking like a seizure and it looked like he was like working the controls. So nobody noticed for minutes. Which would be hard, like you wouldn't really see that in Eric Clapton's show. He wouldn't be like, Layla, Eric, are you okay? Eric? I'm fine, Layla. Like you'd know pretty fast. I feel like.
It wouldn't sound like Layla if he was having a seizure.
You're like, Lay. He's doing the remix, Layla. Yeah, exactly. You'd know a little faster in some of those bands, Like Beyonce should probably be a little more obvious.
Yeah.
She'd be falling down and you'd be like, Beyonce, bae. Actually, she just got announced for the new Lion King. They're doing a Lion King reboot.
Really?
Lion King reboot. A lot of people just got announced. Beyonce's in the cast. Donald Glover's in the cast. Eric Andre. Actually, a lot of like heavy hitting actors are in the cast. And then Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen made it as Timba, like the little like Pimba or whatever, like the little. What is he like some kind of little?
So are they doing
monster.
it live or are they doing a cartoon again?
I
think it would be funny to watch them do it as humans.
That's a great question. I think it's animated. I'm not sure.
You see the big king lion picking up a the little baby lion, have him pick up some guy doing that.
I know John Oliver's in it, but that was exciting. Like everybody's saying because Beyonce is in it, and there's like a whole new cast of people in it.
I was just a little aside for Beyonce. I was like reading about her history, and I guess her dad started having her have auditions at 11. She got signed up something like 7 times and got cut from labels before Destiny's Child took off. And it's just
that's crazy.
It took like 15 years. Like everybody goes like she came out of nowhere. She was actually at it for a long time.
And Destiny's Child feels like so long ago, but that was a whole different thing too. Because they were big. The 3 of them were big. In their time too.
Yeah.
And then Beyonce ends up being the one that launches out.
Yeah.
And not the other two who I guess are Beyonce and Beyonce H. I don't,
Beyond D.
Yeah, we don't really know. No.
Beyond B, Beyond C, Beyond
No
D.
one knows. They're all lost into the sands of time, and they're out there like, that's me! Oh my God, how do you not remember? I was huge! Yeah, we don't know. No one knows.
I was watching this, it was about Jay-Z, and they're, Jay-Z, he was playing in the hip-hop clubs down in the ghetto. And then when he went big, and you're like, hey, wait a minute, you missed some steps. Like how did he go from there to there? And they never tell you how that happened.
Well, too, a lot of it
I'm sure it's all the Illuminati and making those hand signs.
Well, when he came out, too, it was like he was just something a little different in rap, He was like really confident. He was really like, he had a flow all his own, and he was like a rapper's rapper. Other people who are rappers were like, oh, man, Jay-Z, and that's part of what pushed him forward, too, is like, if you're recognized by other people in your field, that can do a lot. So even if people on the streets weren't like not sure who Jay-Z was, the fact that everybody else was like, yeah, you got to listen to this guy. That's what happens in modern rap these days too. A lot of people will be like, oh, check out these guys.
Yeah.
Like Migos have been hitting it really big, because everybody's like having them on their album and stuff.
Migos?
Meanwhile, Migos, not the little.
I'm doing another bad joke like you do.
So I'm not talking about the little plastic guys, which you
right.
can get at the supermarkets. I don't know if you've seen those.
Yeah, they're my fave.
Yeah, you remember those, right? They were called like Migos, and they were like little plastic dudes, and they were all like different like urban stereotypes. You can get them for like 50 cents.
Right.
They were awful and great. Yeah.
Yes.
So apparently there's a band also named Migos that are not related to those plastic toys.
Wow.
But they're really big right now, and it's like almost like people talking to our people like, hey, like they had an appearance on Atlanta, which is a really hot show right now, and other places. So everyone's like, oh, Migos. I used to love you when you were a toy, and I love you as rappers, Migos.
There you go.
See, hopefully they're not listening because they're scary guys. They wear blouses, they're scary dudes.
Yeah, anyone that wears a blouse is a scary dude.
Yeah, I mean, they straight up are like wearing blouses and still will kill you. Scary, scary guys.
Uh-oh.
So, let's see. So, I feel like we should take a quick interlude and come back. And I don't know. Can we talk about how to make a chord? I think that's exciting. I think people might want to check. People be interested in like the construction of a chord. Because I certainly don't know anything about that.
If you want to, they won't be able to see it, but I can talk about it.
Well, you can hear. I'm saying, look at the guitar. Maybe we could play it. You know what I mean? They could hear it a little bit.
Yeah.
We could do a little
Just
goofy.
do it real quick.
Yeah, we could do a little goofy music. We could talk a little more about the film and how people can become a part of it. Because I guess you're looking for funding. You're looking for like editors. You're looking for all sorts of people.
Actors, locations.
And there are talented people here in San Diego.
Yes.
I mean, there really are. There are some fine, talented people. I'm sure a lot of them looking for that extra piece, that extra head up, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I found out when I moved here. Like, every scene isn't, like, music scene has a lot of bands. The comedy scene, there's so many stand-up venues. Like, there's, like, a lot of venues for people to work and create in this town, which is really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely, there is.
And yet I'm so lazy. God, I gotta play. But anyway.
Yeah, you got a radio show.
I know. Well, I want more. I'm so hungry. I want it all. I want it all. Hollywood, where are you? Come tell my story. Tell my story in the 3-part movie. Oh, with success and failure and victories and love and loss.
You have to do the Joe Rogan thing and record them and put them out on YouTube.
Well, I'm doing a Joe Rogan hairstyle already. I'm getting there. I just need to...
Yeah.
Well, it's funny with Joe...
You have a little more hair than he does.
Yeah, well, a lot of people can say that.
Yeah, almost anybody.
Yeah. It was funny, too, because you think of Joe Rogan. He's a guy who really moved his own path forward. And he has a very distinctive style. Like,
yeah.
I enjoy his interviews sometimes because I never know what he's going to ask. And I never know what direction he's going to come with.
Yeah.
And he has done some really stellar interviews. Like, I like a lot of his work. He just has some really weird viewpoints on some things that you just try and be like, okay, Joe. Oh, Joey. Joey, here you go, Joey. Oh, boy.
I still think my favorite ones are Louis Theroux about Scientology, and then all of his interviews with Whitney Cummings, because Whitney Cummings she's pretty darn smart.
Yeah, very smart gal.
You know, I mean, because I've only heard her as a comedian, but actually hear her thinking and talking, it's like, oh my Lord.
Well, yeah, and you get to hear that with people on the show.
Yeah.
Like he did Neil deGrasse Tyson interview that was pretty interesting. You know, he's in interviews with some real cool people. But he also thought Conor McGregor had a chance in that fight. So, I mean, it's hard to really...
Well, he had a chance.
Well, it was a very
everybody has a chance.
Yeah, I mean, technically.
It's like, you know, I could get in the ring with Mike Tyson. I can't say that I'm going to win, but
I mean, there's a chance that Tyson could slip on a banana peel, throw it in the ring, have a fall down, get a concussion, hurt his head badly,
there you go.
Not be able to get up, and me win the bout.
Yeah.
But I would.
Well, there's a chance.
There's always a chance.
That's right.
But I was like, oh, come on, he's not a boxer. That's not gonna. But Joe, he'll put his opinion out there. Joe will convince you. He spent 20 minutes trying to convince people. No, Conor McGregor's going to win, I swear. No.
Yeah, it was weird for me because I don't watch boxing. All those ads about stuff I never paid attention to. It was kind of wild to watch.
Well, what's funny is, like, I don't really follow boxing much either, but I followed it enough to know that Floyd Mayweather was, like, a really talented boxer.
Yeah,
People don't tend to like him because he says stupid things, you know, but a lot of people say stupid things.
I knew enough not to get in a fight with him.
Yeah. Well, you know, not again, not after the first time, you know.
Right.
We traded a few blows, you know. We both came out of it. Yeah, that would not happen. You'd hit me once and I'd still be in the air.
We traded a few blows, as in he hit me a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
I was hitting him pretty hard with my face, though.
That's right.
His hands were really sore from my face.
That's right.
And my ribs.
Yep.
Take that. Ooh, take that to your fist.
That'll teach you.
Yeah, too slow. Hit the human wall. Yeah. Keep a pile of bricks in my pocket. That's so you'll never know.
Yeah, it must be worth it to get the payout to pay for the medical bills.
Right? I'm telling you. I mean, I wouldn't, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do? We'll play a track or two. We're gonna reset. You're listening, of course, to Welcome to. It's 10 o'clock, so I can do the liners. You're listening to Welcome to Thrill Street on KNSJ 89.1 FM, Descanso. Serving San Diego, San Diego, Escondido, Coronado, other things with O's, North Park, South Park, East Park, West Park, Balboa Park After Dark, and all the places in San Diego. We serve it all. 619-528-8383. That's 619-528-8383. Is the number to call in case you have any requests, any questions. You want to ask Doug a question, or is there anything like any burning knowledge you want to know? Get at us. I'll play a track, and then we're going to come back. And so We're back with Doug, maker of films, maker of music, maker of milkshakes. You ever made a milkshake?
Yes.
See,
But,
maker of milkshakes.
You know, I was talking about the cereal killer. You just had a guy whose name of his album is Murder Burgers.
Yeah, delicious murder burgers.
Yeah, it's kind of a scary, ongoing commonality on a lot of people. A lot of anger. But you're always, and
murder burgers, yes.
And a lot of TV shows, the good guy always wins by beating up the bad guy.
Yeah. Do you think that's a problem in our society right now, that there's so many violent images all around us that are kind of just like there, whereas like loving images are kind of censored? Like you can't show a naked body on TV, but you could show 50 people getting shot in the head or like stabbed or, blown up or something like that. But
I would say yes, but it's to me it's more just the gratuity solved the problem. And then there's always the Lord of the Ring trilogy where there was the horrible bad guy who wanted to dominate everybody, and he's supposed to have this great king. Except this great king.
Trump. Sauron, I think was the name. Yeah.
Sauron, but the good king, and when you think about it, he killed quite a few of the orcs. It was all done by violence and domination too.
Well, the orcs were bad hombres.
No, they all were.
And they were trying to do some bad things, and they had to be dealt with. They're very unsympathetic, though. The orcs are like meant to be unsympathetic, I think.
Well, the main problem to me is, how many people watch these images and forget it's all a movie and act like it's real.
Yeah, like they turn their enemies into the orcs. For them, their enemies are these evil orcs, not like real people.
Well, I was talking to an actor a couple of weeks ago where this was like 6 years ago when Grand Theft Auto 2 came out.
Oh yeah, familiar.
He was riding his bike, and this guy crossed the lane and ran right into him. He planted his face on the guy's windshield, and the guy's like laughing, and he's yelling Grand Theft Auto.
That's not how it works.
But this guy,
Grand Theft Auto! Hey, I hit you with Grand Theft Auto! No,
his impression was this guy had seen Grand Theft Auto and wanted to play it out for real.
Be like, no, that would be me stealing your car, sir. That's assault with a vehicle, is what this is.
I've heard the main character does kill occasional people. I don't know. I've never seen the game.
Only occasionally in Grand Theft Auto. That's really a kind of a minor part. It's more of a dating sim. And a weightlifting. It's more of an interpersonal simulator. Well, yeah, that happens. In Grand Theft, typically you'll take someone's car or their bike,
I see.
But that's kind of dumb, That's like going up to somebody randomly hitting them. Boxing! Look, boxing! I hit you, boxing!
It was an Emerald, can't remember the car, but he says the FBI has been trying to solve it. Happened here in San Diego.
How long ago?
Whenever Grand Theft Auto 2 came out, 10, 12 years ago.
I have to get my Robert Stack voice.
Yes.
You can solve a crime. In San Diego, a man was hit by a car. You can find that assaulter.
Well, the same car guy drove up to a street corner and shot 3 people and drove away.
Jeez.
It's been getting researched by the FBI, but they don't really.
He was really playing Grand Theft Auto.
He was.
Well, you see, that's simple. Just find out who had stars that day. Go back, find out how many stars he had, and then, I'm assuming he probably went to a paint shop. So look at all the paint shops around town. Look at all the car dealerships and paint shops. He went there, spray painted his car, and that's why they can't find him.
Yeah.
Because that's how you do it in the real Grand Theft Auto.
Really?
So in Grand Theft Auto, you can go around and shoot 100 people, and the cops are after you. Everybody's chasing you. All you have to do is find a paint shop, go in and get your car painted, and magically they just forget who you are. Like, oh, looking for a guy in a red car. He's a guy in a blue car. Clearly different guy.
Yeah.
Different guy.
Got the same license plate, but the car is different.
Yeah. Well, it can't be. It must be a different guy.
That's right.
See, that's what happened. They were looking for that green car when really he got it painted a sky blue.
No, emerald green. To be
emerald
clear.
Green, And he's like, hey, give me a cherry red. Yeah, they'll never know. They'll never know.
But it's a really, awful story. You can see it's kind of messed up. He was in the hospital for 3 months.
Gee. And you don't think of San Diego as a real violent... I mean, it's a city like any other city.
Yeah.
But I don't really get a real violent vibe off this. I've been to Philly. Philly has a violent vibe.
Really?
Baltimore has a violent vibe. Mm-hmm. New York from time to time has had a... Not so much these days, but it used to have a violent vibe in New York City. Not as much these days. San Diego doesn't really have a violent vibe to me. I mean, yeah, there's freaky people around doing weird things and relieving themselves in places they shouldn't. But, aside from that, it's not really I don't feel menace when I'm on the streets. Of course, here in our studio, it's a lot darker. I probably could walk down some back streets here around the Knsj studios and, find a Loch Ness monster or something, probably.
Oh, this area is lovely.
Yeah, it's also
Actually,
very dark.
yes.
There's like no light anywhere at night. Maybe
Yeah.
it's nice in the daytime. At nighttime, it's just shadows and bushes and darkness. Darkness.
At the break of noon.
Mm-hmm.
Shadowed by the silver spoon.
Well, you gotta wake up at the break
Starting
of
to do
noon.
Bob Dylan there.
You see, that'd be jamming. That'd be a fun jam.
Darkness at the break of noon, shadowed by the silver spoon, the handmade blade, the child's balloon, eclipses both the sun and moon. It's all right, Mom, only bleeding.
Ah, yes, that famous Beyonce tune.
Yes. Bob Dylan, Beyonce.
That'd be a good mashup.
Probably, yeah.
Here I working for the weekend. Hey, sing all my single ladies, Hey, something like that.
Yes.
Hey, who runs the world, girls? Yeah, something like that.
Well, I mean,
I'd go see it. I'd go see that.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I'm doing this movie. Is just
Bob
because
Dylan.
I want to like actually be able to reach people with the movie to let them know that don't. It's like people seem to get touched by movies,
Yeah.
and so I want to like rather than let's just kill a bunch of people or show naked body parts. Let's actually try to have a fun story, but it also like I said, I used to be very dark and angry, and I'm not anymore. So I want to share that possibility with people.
Well, you said that part of the reason that you're not an angry person anymore is like a program called Landmark, right?
Yeah,
That was something you've been in for how long now?
I've been around it for like 30 years.
Okay, but you've been actually like doing it and like
Past couple.
yeah, okay.
I mean, I've done some therapy. I did meditation the last couple of years, where I had the big, insights that actually kind of had me like release all the anger. That actually came about being around the Landmark. It's their central thing is, we think our past creates us, but that's not the real issue. Is because we think whatever's happened is going to keep happening. Our past is actually out in the future waiting for us. So what's the point of bothering to try?
Yeah.
But if you can actually get your past in the past and complete it, suddenly all of that evaporates. And I had this experience where I grew up thinking I was unloved and unwanted, and what I wanted didn't matter. And I just had a couple of realizations that completely changed it, and I realized that was actually not really true. It was like it came really from I was a kid who wanted to have my way, and I didn't get it my way, so I decided nobody loved me. But the truth was I was a 3-year-old obnoxious kid, and they were trying to like discipline me. So they probably actually loved me totally, and I was loved my whole life. I just, because I didn't get my way, this is my story. But everybody else has a different version. But it was being around it. There's just something. It's like the difference between thinking about. There's something that happens, some weird thing. Like, it's not just thinking. There's a doing where you actually change.
And where was that turning point for you?
What do you mean?
Like, where was the point where you started like internalizing the things you were learning and noticed that your anger was disappearing? Noticed that you were like reacting to the world in a different way?
Probably about a year ago, I initiated a friendship breakup with a person I'd known 12 years because they would never respond to me, and I would always get angry at them. And then we reconciled and talked about it, and she said, well, the reason I never, I said, I get mad at you because you never respond. She says, well, I never respond because you're always mad. And that really got me to start thinking that I was pointing over at her, and yet I was the one generating the anger. So of course you say, so it kind of turns the lens back at me, and you start really examining how are you being. But the other thing is that internal conversation. You're the one walking around in it the most.
Exactly.
And so it's not that they say anything you've never heard before. There's just something that there's a real focus among the people in the group to heal it and let go of it. Whereas I wanted, I had this idea for a long time. I was this unloved kid, and now I could change my life and be something new.
Yeah.
What I realized the past couple of months is I wasn't even really unloved. It was just this big story I decided when I was 3 or 4. It's before language really forms up, so you can't really point at it. But I was able to surface this
it's
again.
your perception and your thoughts coloring your reality.
Yeah, but it's not even.
It's like wearing a pair of black glasses over your face and thinking it's always dark out. It's always so dark and gloomy out, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, these are glasses. I can take these off.
Yeah, but because when you're 3, you don't have language really.
Yeah.
You can't really speak it. That was the thing, as it finally surfaced. But they talk about you have this past, and then you have this filter you look through that it doesn't even dawn on you. You're looking through a filter. Mm-hmm. And that's probably the most valuable because, I thought when I was mad at this friend, I knew what was going on. And it turned out I was completely backwards. I was blaming her, and it actually all came from me.
Well, and we all have a filter that we look at things through.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem with America today is like you have these sides of America that are polarized in these filters. They have their bubbles. They have their ways of looking at the world that are so ingrained in they're a part of who they are. There's not even like an opinion anymore. It's like your identity. I'm a Republican. I'm a Democrat, so... they identify so much they can't see anything from another point of view.
Well, they also make the assumption that the country's a reflection of them. Mm-hmm. And so anybody who doesn't think the way they do is like a traitor to the country.
Well, yeah, they see the worst in their enemies and they ignore the worst in their friends.
Right.
They could support, let's say, an unqualified candidate that is clearly not doing a very good job for the country, and meanwhile, oppose people who are trying to point that out and think, well, you're hating. You're just being mean. Well, no, I'm pointing out things that are going on, but that's mean, And it's all narrative and perception because from their point of view, it's like you're attacking their guy. You're being mean to their guy who represents their values and who they identify as. Whereas other people are like, no, this is objectively bad. Like, we need to have a point where there's just truth and lies, and this is objectively good or objectively bad. You can't like steal $5 from me and then tell me this is a good thing. No, it's a bad thing. Like we have to have an agreement that like certain things are bad no matter who does them, and certain things are good no matter who does them.
Yeah, the problem is, from what I can see, is both sides are claiming the other side's lying.
Yeah. Well, it's not only people claiming the other side's lying, it's also not being able to take off their filters.
Yeah.
Like they can't see anything from a different point of view.
Or accept that they're, people just have different opinions.
Well, the fun thing's coming out now, too, with all the investigations. Apparently, I think it was in Texas. So they've been researching how different countries, i.e. Russia, Putin, how they've been influencing people. And one of the things they did was they started this fight in Texas between two political groups, like between conservatives and liberals. And how they did it was they told the conservatives, were like, yeah, we're going to have a rally for America here at this place at this time. And yeah, let's go rally for America. And then they're like, we're going to rally against Trump and all these things at this date, at this place, exactly here. And meanwhile, it was the same person organizing them both, Ivan. And Ivan's like, oh, it's beautiful. They're both rallying on the same street. Oh, let's get the anger up. Yes, do violence. And that's really how it is. You got people being played like tools. You got them played like instruments by people who are practiced at deception.
Yeah.
On every side. Like, it's obviously you've got Russians, you've got people in America, you've got rich people all over the place that have an opinion. And it's really easy to influence people these days.
Well, just, when Bush came in power and all these people were saying he was going to overthrow the Constitution and be a dictatorship, and then Obama came in and he was going to overthrow the Constitution.
He took all our guns. All my guns are gone. And Obama took every single one of them.
But it's like the past 4 presidents I've heard they're going to overthrow the Constitution and install a dictatorship, and that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as, people get upset about Trump, so far he hasn't managed to pass any really useful legislation.
So far he hasn't been able to do much of anything, which is, right. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because you're like, on the one hand, you're like, okay, well, great, he hasn't really done a lot of damage yet. On the other hand, he has done some things that are damaging, like his environmental issues and, different lack of appointments, like not having any ambassadors, not having any, staff, like essentially just crippling government and with slowness, It's like, you're supposed to appoint how many people in your cabinet? You've appointed 5. You're supposed to do this. Most of your cabinets resigned or disappeared. Like everybody you nominate has to recuse themselves because they have ties to a certain country. It's unprecedented, though. We don't really see that because as bad as, the Bush era was, it's not like you thought Bush was allied with Iran or something and they're like, oh, great, or that Reagan was secretly a tool of, Germany.
Right.
That just wasn't the thing. No matter how I felt about Reagan, no matter how I felt about Bush, and I could say a lot of bad things about all of them, but I never thought that they hated America or that they were actively working against America. I never thought that. What I would think about Bush is he was a misguided guy who made some really bad decisions, but maybe he didn't hate America. Maybe he thought he was doing stuff that was in our best interests.
Yeah.
With Trump, you really don't know. Honestly, I don't think he cares about anything. I don't get the same sense from, like, you know, like with Bush, yeah, he messed up a lot of things, did some stupid things. I don't get the sense that the guy is like a complete dummy that can do anything in a given moment. From Donnie, I get that sense. From Donnie, I don't think he wakes up knowing what he's going to do in a given moment.
Well, there's, you know, I can't really address that because I don't know the guy.
Yeah.
Well,
him and I used to hang out all the time. We played a lot of golf together. You know, was a nice guy, but he always tried to grab my cat. But I'd bring my cat to the links, and I'd be like, Don, stop trying to grab it. He's like, hey.
So, to me, the actually weirder thing is it's like the news broadcasters are using him so much to sell fear and advertising.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
he's a hot button.
Do we even know that what we're being reported about him is accurate too? I mean, I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, he's kind enough to tweet it out to us, so we actually have an avenue that is straight from him.
That's true.
Unfiltered. And that's pretty awful to begin with. Like, if all I knew about him was from his tweets, I would think the guy's a pretty terrible human being.
Yeah.
Like, you know, ragging on people, telling the Puerto Ricans that they have to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, and, like, you know, like assaulting and attacking, like, families of, like, you know, widows and, like, people who serve the country, and, like, just being completely insensitive and ridiculous. Like, you talk to John McCain, a guy who got captured, and, like, I don't like people who get captured.
Right.
Really? You're the president. These guys are fighting for us, for, like, dying for us, but you don't think they're real heroes if they get captured.
I don't think he said it while he's president.
Yeah, no. It's, while he's like, you know, well, he never took it back. He's not like, hey, I had a change of opinion. Actually, you're all heroes.
True.
You know, this is the guy who's, like, attacking the widow of the guy he called. He was like, hey, you know, she was lying. I knew his name. It was on a that's what he said. I knew his guy's name because it was on a card in front of me. So he was on this card.
But this whole, it's like I was talking about Landmark. Everybody has these stories that they all live in.
Mm.
And then we start, like, laughing and accusing each other.
Yeah.
And we're so busy. I think the term that is not, I can't remember who coined it, but it's the reactive mind. You have a bunch of ideas about how things are, and you say just the right statement, your mind just starts reacting and talking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you aren't even really thinking. You're just...
Well, it's because neurons fire. Like, certain things fire when you hear stuff. You have, like, associations, you know? Like, if I say chocolate, your neurons fire and go, oh, chocolate, delicious.
And that's what, you know, the Landmark and a lot of these things I did, it's about getting the reactive mind to be quiet so you can actually... Yeah, the weird thing about the reactive mind is you have this feeling like you're powerful, like you're making a stand, but in a way you actually become a slave to it. It just completely runs your life. You don't even really think.
So do you think Trump would benefit from Landmark?
I think everybody would.
Think it might change some things?
If everybody stopped working out of the reactive mind and actually could be present, you know, if you got all your angers calmed down.
So it almost seems like a meditation type teaching too, like transcendental, you know, almost like to be here now, sort of like be present in your own life and in your own mind, you know.
Yeah, I because I haven't done those, can't really say. The meditation,
but like being present, you know what I mean, like being in the moment. Yeah, but
it's being in the moment, but also getting rid of those filters we were talking about earlier. Like you just there's like, I know a lot of people claim to be present, but it's like they're having a discussion in their mind that they're present. They aren't actually really present.
Yeah, you're there, but you're also processing, like you're a computer. You're processing 100 different things at once.
Yeah.
You know, because that's who we are. We're always like processing. We're hunter-gatherers. We're scavengers. You know, we're like always looking and always working.
Our brain, I mean, part of the thing they talk about in Landmark is our brain is designed to protect us.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is we're not being chased by, you know, a bunch of cheetahs and Tyrannosaurus Rexes anymore.
No, hopefully not. I mean, if you are, that's a rough life, but hopefully not.
But the idea is because our brain has that in us, it colors the way we look at things.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the idea of getting that reactive, animalistic, protective thing to be quiet.
Yeah.
And then just this other part of you surfaces and you're very peaceful and calm.
Now, when you say you've been doing Landmark for a while, are there any Landmark places around here in San Diego? So let's say if someone was listening and they're interested and like, Landmark sounds kind of cool. What resources would they have in San Diego to check it out?
Well, they have a center on Miramar Road up by, it's called the Pyramid Building, right next to the airbase.
So it's not an actual pyramid, though.
No, but it's got this.
Because that would be a lot cooler if it was an actual pyramid. That'd be great.
Well, they have a pyramid that goes over top of it. It's like an open. It's made out of steel girders.
So it is kind of a pyramid.
It's called the Innovative Something Center, but it's got this kind of like pyramid structure over it.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people like at night, it's lit up and you can see it from 20 miles away. And it's just called the Pyramid Building.
Now they have to keep reassuring people when they come in. Listen, guys, it's not a scheme. I know you see the pyramid. You're not going to ask you to buy anything. It's like a multi-level marketing.
They might in the Pyramid Building. We don't. Landmark doesn't have to, no.
Yeah, Landmark does. But you're like, it's like the classic scheme. You're like, we'll bring it to the building. Wait, this is shaped like a pyramid. Nah, listen, don't worry. This is a triangular plan. But no, it's not like that. You're not like buying you're not like buying Landmark products. You're like, here's a Landmark candy bar you have to sell. Here's 20 of them.
Oh, no. So the opening course is called The Forum, where they actually get into this discussion about how does your pass filter really work? And because each one of us is individual, it's like I can't really tell you what they come with because everybody has different things.
Yeah.
They're having a course right now called the Communication Access to Power. And that's where you really change the whole way you think of how to communicate with it. Because most of us think communication is, this is what I want, or I can bludgeon you into agreeing with me or whatever. And they have a very different way of approaching things.
Well, there's like communication and debate. Like they're definitely two different styles. Whether you're trying to sway someone over to your point of view or to understand their point of view and try to come to an agreement.
Yeah.
And they're very different.
Yeah. But anyway, it's on Miramar Road. I think it's called Miramar Square.
Okay. So a lot of shapes involved. There's pyramids, there's squares. It's Miramar Square, but you're looking for a pyramid.
No, don't be so rotund.
It's a roundabout way of talking about it.
That's right.
And of course, it's landmark, and literally that would be a landmark.
I'm gonna put a hex on
that you would look through. Not again.
What can we do with 7 now? I can't think of one for 7.
I'm not trying to have another Freaky Friday scenario.
There you go. Yes.
It's already a Freaky Friday as it is. So you would definitely then recommend like a landmark to people who are looking to like kind of change their life a little bit, or.
Well, yes, but the other thing I have to say, I went for some emotional therapy when I was younger. It's not therapy.
Yeah.
It assumes you're.
Well, how would you describe landmark then? If it's not quite therapy, it's definitely not a pyramid scheme. How would you describe it?
It's the term quite often used by people is self-empowerment. But to me, it's more transforming. Because I went from Douglas, this upset, pissed, sad kid, into now I'm a very happy.
To Dougie Fresh, guitar god, yes. Virtuoso.
Actually, some people call me Dougie Fresh there.
Yeah, see.
Yeah. But the thing it's not like. I used to be like very dark and angry, and I had that under control.
Your
and
goth
I had a new
phase,
life.
yeah.
But the thing was that was still there. Recently, it's gone away. It's hard for me. It's almost like literally a miracle. Like this whole thing that ran my life is suddenly gone.
And you can see, like, you definitely have like an air of peace about you that like is very palatable. Like you have an air of calmness.
Yeah.
And that probably comes from cultivating it.
Yeah. And probably if you think back the first time I was here, I probably didn't have it anywhere near as much.
Well, you still had some of that because you're still working through the program and you're still a very captivating kind of guy. You definitely have that energy where you can carry on a conversation about a lot of different things. You have this wide base of knowledge to work from, which is awesome.
Yeah, I paid attention in college.
That makes one of us.
But
actually, I did.
The thing that's like if you were to sit in a room not participating and watch it.
Yeah.
It looks like there's 150 people sitting in a room and there's somebody talking to them about stuff.
Yeah.
And to just look at that, it doesn't make any sense. But when you actually are a participant and you work through the whole process, it's, I'd say, good 80-85% of people, it really alters their life positively.
And now, is it expensive, or is it kind of like a thing you pay a due or something like that? Is there a...
So the forum...
Is there a blood oath?
No. There's no animal sacrifice or anything like that.
Well, I'm still interested. Go on.
You were looking for...
Yeah, it's so hard to find a good blood cult these days,
Right.
It's just not about the music anymore, It's always about, the killing and the money, but what about the music and the blood,
No, my movie's about being peaceful. Well, there is some killing. Anyway, we'll ignore that part.
Yeah, I can't wait till it comes out. I'll be like, let's watch this movie about being peaceful. Yeah. Wow, that guy's head went flying. Yeah, it was a peaceful decapitation.
Yeah, right. I'd like to point out that was his opinion.
Yeah.
Anyway,
all opinions expressed.
So the forum itself, it's 3 days and then a Tuesday, and it's $665. And that includes a seminar, which goes on for like 3 or 4 months, where you get to practice stuff.
And a continental breakfast.
No, we don't.
Continental breakfast.
We don't have any continents.
Oh man. Nothing but landmarks. All landmarks, no continents.
Why am I saying we? It's not. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not a. I don't work for a landmark. But the thing is, it sounds like a lot, but then if you break it down to the amount of hours, I think it works out to like $11 an hour. Yeah,
because you're saying over the course of like 3 or 4 months, right?
Yeah, because you have the forum, which is 3 full days and a Tuesday night,
and
then the seminar, which is, I think there's 10 nights, but it's spread out. But when you add up all the hours, it ends up to being like $11.50. And it's like getting I don't know if you've ever been around the coaching business is like $100 to $300 an hour, depending.
I have met a life coach or two.
Yeah.
It's always a little confusing. They're like, okay, I just picture somebody standing behind you like, all right, eat that sandwich. Make it. You got it. Go for it. Push it. Make that phone call. Yeah. Like, go deep.
The thing is, you get coaching. For instance, in the forum, you can go through the whole forum, not say a word.
Yeah.
It's always kind of surprising just because you have people who don't raise their hands, they don't say a word, and they come out incredibly transformed. They just listen the whole time. Other people, it's just everybody has a different way of being in life.
Yeah.
But, it's like $665 sounds like a lot to people, that then, figure how much you spend on beer and cigarettes. And don't do that for 3 months, and you'll be healthy. And
I really need a forum, right?
Yeah.
I gave out 3 months of sweet beer.
But it's like, I think I've read something like 87% of the people that they interviewed said it has a massively positive change.
That sounds pretty good.
So it's not.
And
it's really not that big.
Is there like a continuing fee to be part of it? Like once you pay that initial fee, is it like, okay, now here's your your $50 a year maintenance fee or something? You get a card, or you get to go to the grounds.
So you have your seminar, which is included.
Yeah.
And then after that, they have seminars which can run anywhere from $75 to $160. They have another course called the advanced course, and that's what you were talking about. Landmark lets you get down to where you can see the filter. Advanced course is where you remove it and alter it, completely change it. And then you get what's called self-expression and leadership program, where you redefine your life, because it's like when you're a kid, you made all these declarations about life, but you don't really remember them. By the time you get to self-expression and leadership, you've remembered it all, and now you're reforming your life.
And then the next level after that's where you're a Jedi and you get all the cool powers and stuff, and you can do the mind meld. And
it's actually where you become a real human.
Exactly, a real human that can use their mind to throw objects. I get it.
Yeah, right.
I pick up what you're putting down. I'm reading between the lines.
Yeah.
I know you're not actually saying that, but I know what you mean.
Well, you see all the things floating in the air around us right now.
I'm pretty perceptive. I get it. I know. You want the Jedi powers? Landmark, land speeder. Coincidence? Jedis everywhere.
The thing I found most interesting is the further along I got, the more I just wanted to be for other people and contribute to them.
Yeah.
That's the secret power. There are courses. They have a thing called the assisting program, where you go in and you volunteer to help run. Like they have forums. They have a leader, and then there's people who are like making sure all the chairs are down and things are handed out. A lot of people do that just to volunteer.
Yeah.
I go into the office once a week, and because I'm an accountant, I go in and do like some of the financial stuff for them. And it's all out of just, I want to support the center so other people can do it.
But now, are you still a practicing accountant as well, like on all the other hats you wear?
Yeah, I do bookkeeping at a restaurant, Jimmy Carter's Mexican Cafe, great food.
Oh, is that the one that's kind of in Bankers Hill, but not between Bankers Hill and the... I've always see that, and I never... How did it become Jimmy Carter's Mexican Cafe?
So,
I've always wondered about that. I'm fascinated now. I've always wondered about this.
I have to point out that Jimmy Carter is a very common name.
Okay, so yeah, first off, is it actually for President Jimmy Carter? Jimmy Carter, I will give you burritos. Nope. I was really hoping it was like a Jimmy Carter themed Mexican cafe.
I've actually had people riding the bus where they scream at me that we're lying. It's not the president. So I'm like,
that's not the president's burrito shop. You a bunch of liars.
Yeah.
Jimmy Carter doesn't make burritos. Like, excuse me, sir. No.
How many James Carters can there be in America?
Only like 3.
Yeah.
5.
Well, one of them owns it.
Really?
Yeah.
So he was literally Jimmy. I'm also Jimmy Carter. And
his name is James Brennan Carter.
Yeah, that'd be like the poor unfortunate guy that just happens to be named Donald Trump and has nothing to associate with him. They're like, we can't stand you, Donald. I'm a shoemaker from New Jersey. Please, guys, stop with all the hate on Twitter. I'm just a guy who happens to be named Trump.
My name's Douglas McCarron, and back when I was a kid, Douglas MacArthur was still big. And
oh yeah,
and he had that whole thing, I shall return. So every time I would come back, people would say, "Hey, have you returned?" And it got, it was funny like the first 4 times.
No wonder you had anger problems.
Yes. After the 4, like the next 9,000 times wasn't quite as funny.
I believe it.
But no, it's a really good restaurant. Really good
I do
chef.
pass by it quite a bit. Like as soon as I'll walk to work, I'll see Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy Carter's. But now I know it is not. I shouldn't ask for like a peanut burrito or something. They're not going to be Jimmy Carter themed.
Nope. His brother won't be there causing trouble.
Some Billy beers. Oh man, if someone had a Billy beer in their fridge, I would love to taste one at some point.
It's been a long time.
It's probably terrible, but like I mean, maybe it's better by now. It's been aged for like 40 years.
Funny enough, with all my stuff, I never got into alcohol.
Really?
I did try a few other things, shall we say.
Well, I never inhaled alcohol. I'll say that.
Yeah, I didn't.
I tried alcohol, but I never inhaled.
We have a Christmas party once a year, and the cooks are always laughing at me because I'm like, I'll drink half a bottle of beer and I'm drunk, and they're on like their 12th and they're not even the slightest bit phased. And
oh yeah, I knew some folks like that. I knew some Irishmen straight from the boat, and they could drink a 12-pack of beer and just be like, "Oh, this is nothing. Oh, it's a tasty treat.
Yeah.
Oh, what's this? A start in the night."
But for me, it's like the only alcohol I have all year. And so to me, it like really hits me. Mostly, I just drink water.
Well, that's the stuff, man.
Yep.
100% of people who drink water die. It's very dangerous. 100% of people who drink water die.
So I've heard.
It's very dangerous.
Yes.
It's a gateway drug too.
Yep.
Did you know everybody who's tried marijuana drank water first? It's true. It's true.
I think you're being suspicious.
Somewhere in the past, people drank. Water is a gateway drug. It leads to a lot of things.
It leads to being a president.
That's the fun with statistics, You could like say something statistically, well, look, 100% of people who drank water also beat their children. And you're like, well, yeah, but everybody drinks water. Shut up.
Speaking of which, when did you quit beating your family?
Well, it's when I woke up and realized I didn't have one. I'm like, what am I beating? Is this a pillow? And then I woke up. And, that's that great double. Wait, what do you mean?
That's a bad joke. I shouldn't have said that.
No, but that is like the debate of the day. It's essentially just people like that yelling at each other. Well, are you still beating your wife? No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, it's really weird. This whole stuff that's going on in Hollywood. It's just.
Oh yeah, whiny.
That's another thing.
Oh yeah, Jabba the Hutt down there. Yeah, he's a pleasant guy.
It's only been like less than a month and the Weinstein thing broke, and just all this stuff's just pouring out.
Well, because people feel more comfortable to accept coming out with the fact that they've been victims or they've had issues, and it's crazy too because what you see so much is the first thing that happens when someone comes out. First thing that happens, everybody wants to bring their pitchforks out and attack whoever did it.
Yeah.
Why isn't the first thing that happens everybody wants to help that victim, to come to that person and say, hey, are you okay? Yeah. Hey, do you need some counseling? Do you need someone to literally our first when someone comes to you in pain, your first reaction to be to help that person who's in pain, not to literally go out and try and murder the person that hurt them. I mean, you might feel some anger towards them, and obviously if they committed a crime, they should pay for it with our legal system, which is how the world works. Right. But it's like, man, people just want to bring so much venom to people. Like you were saying, like an anonymous person could just ask somebody, and all of a sudden your career is ruined. Whereas it's like, no, help the person first. Help the person first. Well, figure out what the situation is, and then move on from there.
This is that reactive mind going again. Our brain is like, oh, there's an attack, I need to respond.
Yeah. We need to respond with anger, with torches and violence.
Gotta suppress whatever it is so we don't get hurt.
Yeah, and it's sad. It is really sad. But there's good things in the world too.
Oh, and again, that's what the main thing for me with Landmark is. It got that reactive mind to be quiet, so I could actually. It's hard to explain.
Now, did any of that make it into the film?
Landmark?
Yeah, not necessarily Landmark per se, but some of the ideas that in there, and some of the. Because you're talking about a character that's conquering their anger, conquering their emotions, figuring a different way to do things.
The original script was is a dark, kind of a cute, dark romantic comedy about a female serial killer, and it just stayed dark all the way through it. But, as I've changed and become calmer and am no longer dark, I've added the part where she transitions.
Okay. So I was going to ask about that, if the script has changed since you wrote it to now. If there has been elements and pieces of you have changed as well.
There's actually gone from one script to there's now 5. And I don't know if I'm going to do 5 movies or if I'm going to just make it an elongated web series or how I'm going to do it.
Or like
But
5
it's-
perspectives even.
Yeah.
You could look at it as 5 different perspectives, either on the same thing or a different thing entirely.
I've even gotten the idea recently of making it more as a bunch of drawings, rather than videoing it. Because that's you look on YouTube and there's a lot of stuff where it's just still pictures
Animated,
of people
yeah.
talking. Yeah,
Or like an animated thing or something. Yeah, La Jetée is a great example of that. That's a great film. That was where 12 Monkeys came from.
Oh,
La
yeah?
Jetée was this French film. I think it's about 12 minutes long, and it literally is 12 monkeys, but it's just like a very truncated version. The whole film is done in pictures. It's
Right.
all just still shots and audio.
Oh.
And it's gorgeous. And the trick of the mind is a lot of times you don't notice that it's just still shots
Right.
because your brain creates that action from frame to frame.
Right.
And it's a beautiful film.
well, it's like
It's a beautiful
It's
film.
how comic books work.
Yeah. Oh, comic books, absolutely. They
Yeah.
talk about that, the art of comics, how the brain makes those jumps.
Yeah.
It's a unique art form in that way. There's no other art form where you're in such a weird way you're supplying the blank spaces.
Yeah,
Like when you're reading a novel, you're creating that image in your head.
yeah.
Sure.
The story is just suggesting what should be in your head.
Yeah, if you're listening to music, it might evoke responses.
Right.
But with a comic book, it's like literally you're creating all this stuff out of nowhere. It's like you're taking these cognitive jumps, these little tiny cognitive jumps, and building a story out of it.
Right.
It's fascinating. It's a
And
really
wha-
strange art form.
And whatever's in the square kind of is like little places to
Yeah,
land.
your guide points,
Yeah.
and how you get to them and where you go from could be really vastly different with people,
There was a there was a written book and also a comic book back in the 70s where it shows up in a box. And you take the pages and you throw them up in the air and you just reassemble it, and every time you go through it, it's a different story.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And they none of the major characters get killed,
Ah,
but it's like there's the written part, and all the pages, the paragraph starts at the top and the bottom. It's the end of a paragraph, so you don't have anything going to the next page.
that's actually a fascinating idea.
Yeah, but doing it with comics is interesting because you have about 80 pages, throw it and reassemble, and the story changes each time.
There's this comic strip online called Cyanide and Happiness.
Oh, great.
That is really adorable. It's all like stick figures and it's very funny. It's got great dark sense of humor, but it's
Right.
also, they do a thing called Depressing Comic Week, where the whole week are the most depressing comics they could write, like A Guy to Gravestone, or like it's just really funny, awful stuff. But they came out with a game called Joking Hazard, which plays on that same idea. It's each card is just a picture or an image, like a cartoon image or like a comic image, and you put them together and you make plays to make the funniest 3-strip cartoon out of what you have, or 4 strips if you have the right card.
Yeah, I'm just connecting it back to Landmark. The fact that dark humor we laugh at. Again, why? Well, it's like like you watch YouTube. There's videos of people getting punched and people laugh.
Yeah,
There's nothing really funny going on, and yet people laugh at it. You hear people there laughing because some guy just got knocked out and the rest of his life is messed up.
I mean, occasionally it's funny, like when it's
Yeah.
a guy who's like harassing people all day, and then somebody comes and knocks him out of nowhere. The street justice video is always fun.
Or he falls over on his owner.
Yeah, or it's like I think there's a really funny viral video of this woman who crashed her car into like a 7-Eleven. So she was reckless, crashed her car into the front of a 7-Eleven. Luckily, didn't hurt anybody really when she crashed it. But she crashes her car, and these 2 guys are passing by recording it, and they're just like, "Oh my, I can't believe it!" And then she gets really mad at them and starts chasing them, and it's like a Benny Hill-esque round and round this car where they're taping her, and she's yelling at them. She's like, "Well, you shouldn't have crashed your car, lady. Why are you chasing us? You're nuts, I'll get you!" And you're like, "No, you won't," That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
There's definitely a line between awful and funny, and I think people's sense of humor has definitely gotten darker as the years have went by.
Yeah, and that's why for me it's interesting because I was part of all that, but just in the past couple of years that's all shifted for me, especially the past 4 or 5 months.
Well,
I've
you've
really
seen the
had a
light,
massive change. It's well, they have a phrase. I become whole and complete. It's like I don't really have any of that darkness or holes in me anymore. It's just I feel very, very complete.
That's a good thing. I think a lot of people are looking for that, and that you found something that brings that to you is amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that colors a lot of things you're going to do, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, there are 2 things I want to do. First off, I want to promote your stuff, make sure we get all your stuff out there. So the website they can go to find out more about the film, or to help out, or to do just anything.
The website is www.abittwisted, ABITTWISTED, TED.
Twisted.net.
.net. And then on Facebook, it's Douglas Scott McCarron.
Because nets do get twisted, folks.
That's right.
So that makes sense. And it's Douglas Scott McCarron on Facebook.
Yeah.
On it's, the Book of Faces.
It's .net because .com was taken.
Of course. BitTwisted.com is, of course, the place you go for Twizzlers, I think.
That's right.
Something like that. I don't know.
Yep.
So, do you want to make sure you get promo? Oh, you said do you have the friend who's doing something cool you wanted to mention?
Oh, yeah. I have a friend named Chloe Harlow. She's a
shout out to Chloe.
Yeah, she's a life coach. She's a real good coach. But she's also got on Facebook, it's called Smoking Hot Chili Sauce.
Mm-hmm. Now, is she a life coach? Now, how many wins does she have?
Say again?
How many wins does she is a life coach? Now, how many wins does she have in the league? Now, does she have any championships, any playoff?
So that's not how life coaching works.
No. Oh, that was so bad. I got Jay Blaze. That was so bad. Jay Blaze broke his mic silence. Oh, I feel good now. Okay.
Anyway.
So that is not how that works. They don't measure with. They have like a victories. No, nothing like that.
Well, the victories are there's several people who've changed their lives because of her.
Okay, so that's a win then. She has a few wins.
And then the chili sauce, she created it, and it's very interesting because like when I make eggs, it makes them fluffier and they kind of taste more buttery, and yet it's a chili sauce. It's really excellent. So you can get that. Look for that on Facebook too.
So if you want to do that one chip challenge, but with some hot chili sauce.
Yeah, I don't know how that'll go.
Yeah, don't do the one chip challenge.
It's a small bottle, but it like lasts me about 10 days.
So it is hot.
It's not hot like habanero hot, but it is definitely like a jalapeno hot.
So, to round out the show, let's get that guitar out because we've done a whole show and we haven't heard any of your awesome guitar. And now sometimes what I'll do, obviously, I'll just do stupid stuff over your guitar. But do you have any songs that you'd be willing to like play or anything? Because I feel rude that I haven't asked you to play a song, and yet you're a musician with plenty of songs. I don't want to put you on the spot. If you don't want to play something, that's fine. But is there anything that you think you could play that'd be cool for radio that you want to give people? Folks, you are getting some real Doug right here, folks.
That's a song. It's called Spoonful by Willie Dixon.
That is nice, man. That was really nice.
And my dad, thank you. My dad has this original Willie Dixon record from the 30s. And I would listen to it. And I go, that bass drum sounds like a footlocker. And my dad said, that's because it is a footlocker. Because, this is segregation. So they couldn't afford drums and things like that. And so you listen, but it's just some of this great music, Oh,
that's awesome.
You wanted to know about how to make a chord earlier.
I did, yes.
Okay.
Now, we might not have any time because we're getting close to the end, but you want to play something fun? Like,
I can play some music for you.
Yeah, so we're going to because we're going to hit the end of the show here. So I want to give a shout out to Testpod, shout out to all the folks in PA, shout out to Doug for coming in and hanging out again with us. It's so awesome. 3-Timer Club. We're going to end the show listening to some of his sweet tunes, folks. Check back in next week. This is Doug McCarron on Facebook, Douglas Scott McCarron on Facebook, and abit-twisted.net. Take us out, folks. I feel the beat. Feel the rhythms. Take us to Escondido! loving it out there. Oh yeah, baby, we're strumming! That's our show! Tune in next week for more illustrious gas-style Trump on the air. Tender
You have been
Vittles.
listening to a live production of KNSJ coming to you from the City Heights Broadcast Center.
See you!